Hey, what is up there, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, finally doing my free guy review. It has been a while. I apologize. It's just been crazy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get straight to it. So, to be honest, I actually enjoyed this movie a lot more than what I thought I would. And there were a lot of trailers that promoted this film. I guess they were really interested in getting people back into theaters because there was a lot of promotional material about this, and I was just like, I don't know how this is gonna go. Um, yeah, it seemed a little bit hokey in places, uh, but I mean, when I went to it definitely had I wouldn't say the story was the best, but it was one that had very few plot holes. It, then just the actors themselves were made this movie essentially. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, there were a couple like the real life stuff. So yeah, it's a video game. Just brief. So video game. You know, but it also has a in real life segment, of this programmer and these two programmers and a an owner of a company played by Taika Waititi, uh, which was really interesting. We'll go into that a little later, but yeah, I wasn't a fan of the in real life sections. It just seemed like there wasn't enough there to sort of feed into it. So that was my thought on that. But this movie, it played a lot into a lot of other movies, like The Truman Show comes to mind, also Ready Player One. So, I mean, how I'd compare, The Truman Show, it was definitely not, didn't go as deep as The Truman Show. The Truman Show, for as funny as it was actually a really deep show that had a lot of really, deep connotations and stuff like that. It was a really good story, everything. But yeah, um, this one was a little more fun than that. They wanted to have a little more fun, and that's good. Ready Player One, I do think had a better story, but the problem with that one was they just all the references they just threw at you. It was just like piled on, and I'm just like, come on, stop this. So this one didn't feel like it was overreach. It didn't feel like it was trying to be nostalgic for nostalgia's sake. Like it wasn't trying to force feed you all these references, even though there were a lot of references. But it felt like a little more organic than Ready Player One, if that makes sense. While at the same time being a little bit more fun and freeform than like the Truman Show. Um, yeah, it did have a lot of streamers like Pokemon's in here, uh Jacksepticeye, who the hell else is in here? Um oh, Ninja, of course. Uh and Laserbeam. Yeah, there there was a lot and it was super fun. Some of the editing on some of those little scenes though were a little whack, but in terms of like the voice to what was recorded, but I don't know. What else can we say? I did like. Wow, I'm kind of stuck on to where to say. I actually said pretty much everything I think that needs to be said within, I guess, the review. I mean, the actors were great. Ryan Reynolds, playing blue shirt guy, free guy, whatever you want to call it. Like he was great. He was charismatic. I did enjoy Jodie Comer's character as well. Except in the real life. Like again, real life I think was done really. It seemed sort of hacked on, and I don't think it was fleshed out as much as it needed to be to actually get the reaction that they were expecting. So it was, yeah, the in real life stuff was stuff that I thought felt was weak. Let's see, what else have we got here? Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. It has way more heart. Like, it feels like they're doing their own thing, while at the same time, obviously, uh, things again like Ready Player One, The Truman Show, are definitely inspirations to that. But they did their own thing. I don't think it was the greatest movie, but it was a fun movie. Like I don't feel I wasted my time. I felt I got my money's worth, and I actually enjoyed it more than I thought. So honestly, I'd give this one a 7. This is above average film. Um, and if you have a chance to see it in theaters, go ahead. If not, you can see it on a streaming service or whatever. It, but it's not a waste of time. It was a super fun movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it. There were a few things that I was not so keen on, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, I think that's really all that needs to be said for the review section on this. So, 7 out of 10. And with that, I think we'll close here and we will go to see you in the spoiler section. So, I will see you then. Hey guys, it is Rapmark back again with the review with the spoiler section of Free Guy. So, I mean, what is this essentially? So it starts off. It's essentially like Grand Theft Auto. It's an open world, and there are people who are doing bank robberies, killing people. Like essentially, it's a game where you can just be an asshole. That's essentially what it is. So Grand Theft Auto, perfect, perfect thing of doing this. You know, guy, he's this NPC who works at a bank with his best friend who's a security guard. They get robbed all the time. You know, that's just sort of the thing. But one day he's just like he sees this girl and something inside of him changes and he's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so yeah, he kills a player, takes their glasses, and like everything just his whole world just changes. Um, so we go into the real world for the first time, and what is it? It's Walter Keys. Ah, okay. So Keys and Millie. So these are the two indie developers who essentially they were creating a indie game and then it was bought by Tsunami, which is a company owned by uh, Taika Waititi's character comes into play, and so essentially he steals the code without telling him, without getting any royalties. I mean, Keys takes a job with him, and it's just like it's one of those things where everything is explained, but some of it's not explained really well. Like, why is Keys working for this guy? Why is he putting up with all this stuff? It's just like, if you didn't include that in your contract, that's really bad. So, yeah, it's it's one of those things and there are a few things in this movie that does that. That it's explained, but it's explained really, really poorly. So yeah, like that was one of my first things. Just like, why the hell is he working for this guy? Like, after stealing this, yeah, it was it was a little strange, um, but not what I'd consider a plot hole. Just really a poorly written aspect of it. So anyway, so Millie gets mad at Keys because he doesn't want to help her. He doesn't like. This is before he realizes that he stole it, which, I mean, Millie knows that he stole it, but Keys doesn't. That's another weird thing. It's yeah, it's kind of explained, but it's yeah, it does a really poor job. Um, yeah, so she goes in. Um, what is Guy? Guy, there we go. Caesar, he starts to change, and she's trying to go into this aspect of the game to someone who actually has footage of what would essentially have been her and Keys's game within Free City, which is the game they're currently in. So she breaks in. It's booby trapped. Whatever. He shows up. Well, before she goes, it's like she goes in herself. He shows up, and she gets driven off, like, because they see them from outside. Then she takes him to her little lair thing, and he's just like, "This is super cool." Like, he doesn't realize that he's an avatar, or not an avatar, but a AI, or well, he is an AI, and that we'll get into that. Um, but that he's an NPC. He doesn't realize that this is a video game that he exists in. So she tells him to go level up, and so he does. He starts to develop as a character, as a person, gets up to level 100, and he's just this badass at this point. So he goes in, and essentially, let's see. Oh yeah, he levels up solely doing good missions. Like, so apparently no one else wants to be the good guy. And like, again, this is a game essentially full of trolls. This is a game where you are encouraged to be an asshole, which is just like, I mean, yeah, that is definitely Grand Theft Auto in a nutshell right there. So anyway, he levels up to level 100. They meet up again as she breaks into another player's area, and that's where you see like Is it Channing Tatum? Yes, Channing Tatum who played it. And it's just like it's this it's super it's super hilarious. Like oh my gosh. Yeah. But yeah, so essentially she goes in, and he's rigged it to where it just triggers a whole bunch of players to actually go get summoned in there, high level players. She tries to get it, she fails, and they have to escape on a motorbike. So all this time, Keys is like trying to figure out who this is. He realizes that he is an artificial intelligence, and back in the real life section, he talks to Millie about this. Which here's the one plot hole. So Millie and Guy go on like an online date, and he's just like, "I want to kiss you," and then they kiss, but he's just like, "There's not even a button for that." Like, and it never explains it. Like the whole concept of later on when he loses his memory, he needs something. She has to kiss him, but there's no button, and it's just like, how did this happen? What? This makes no sense. I don't get it. It's super weird, and it's the one plot hole because it makes no sense. It's a big plot hole, and it jacked up. So, but anyway, yeah. So that's where Keys has to tell Millie that he is an AI, and then how he programmed Guy himself, which is why he developed a romantic interest because he was designed never to fall in love, which you'll get into later. And then Millie tells Guy the truth that breaks off the relationship. He's very confused, all that stuff. And that goes into a whole thing of like what's real, what's not, which I don't know. It's an interesting like grazing the surface of what is essentially a very serious topic. But yeah, it's lighthearted fun. It's nothing too in depth. Again, it scratches the surface of what could potentially be a very big conversation topic, but for the sake of the movie, it works out. So, in the meantime, Taika Waititi's character, he's going to wipe Free City off. He's doing a new game, Free City 2, where you can't do anything. Like, nothing carries over. You have to buy your own skins again, everything. And it's just like, it sounds terrible. It sounds terrible. And there are game companies that really do this. Screw you guys. That's all I'm going to say. So, anyway, guy realizes that he's full AI, and then he's gonna help. They're gonna wipe. So Taika's character he wipes the city because Guy is now ruining. He's so popular because he's being the good guy that everyone is all about him. So it is ruining the launch of his Free City 2. So he decides, let's. So, okay, so here's another thing. There's a friend of Million Keys who's just like, I mean, it seems like he goes around with everything that Taika's character is doing, and then only at the end does he realize that, oh, you did actually steal it. You are a douchebag. Like he was an asshole the whole time. And that was another one which again is explained, but really, really badly. And it's just like, come on, like that was you yeah. The friend's character just I did not like, and to think that they were friends, it, I couldn't see it after all that. It's just like, you kind of jacked that up because it made his friend seem really stupid. He's his friend really stupid or just really manipulative. And both are really bad things to have in a friend. So, yeah, so that was kind of weak. So, anyway, Antoine. Okay, that's Watiti's character. So, Antoine. So Keys refuses to reboot it, gets fired. Antoine reboots Guy himself. Like again, like these guys are supposed to be friends, and it's just like, come on. So after the game wipe, Millie finds Guy without sentence, but Guy needs a reminder, so she kisses him, which again, big plot hole. How? How did you do this? How? Oh, yeah. It's the one plot hole that is just never explained. It's never explained. There's no button for kissing. Why did you do this? How did you do this? Okay, so anyway, his sentence is restored. So again, he recalls the island. So this is another one that is again weakly written. It's kind of explained, but not really. So the AIs, they gather them all together, and they're just like, you can do whatever you want, and they're just like, okay. Whereas like earlier, like while he's sort of building his character, um, they're just like he asked for a different coffee, and everyone's just like, what? Like it just blew their minds that anyone would want to try anything different. And yeah, it was. So that's another like thing. It's not a plot hole. It is written that something like causes them to trigger to want more. Um, but again, it's bad. It's not really well explained. But it happened. So anyway, they disappear. All the AIs do sort of help him. So Antoine, he sends an unfinished, broken, half-written character dude who is supposed to be a cooler version of Guy. And yeah, you can tell it's just like you insert generic line or yes, and stuff like that. Like again, half written, barely half a brain. Yeah. So they fight, and it's almost like you can tell when Warner Brothers was purchased by Disney in this movie because all of a sudden you get the big like during this fight you get big cameos. Chris Evans shows up with the when guy has the shield, and it's just like, what the shit? And then there's this lightsaber, which doesn't really do anything. It's it's about as legit a lightsaber as whatever. I don't know. It wasn't a great lightsaber because lightsabers are supposed to chop through things, and that one did relatively jack crap. It was yeah. So after all that, he's about ready to be crushed by Dude, and then he gives Dude his glasses, and then Dude's just like, "Whoa, this is cool." And so, having lost that, Antoine goes to destroy the server. And this is where the friend again turns on him, which, badly written. Why are you friends with this guy? I don't know. Anyway, Millie shows up and persuades him to not destroy everything. And essentially, he can keep the. What is he? Okay, so all he has to do is give up the free city code and the intellectual property, but he can keep the profits as well as, the idea and all that. And it's just like, Antoine's this is the worst deal ever. And he's just like, I don't care. And that does speak, like, again, it lightly brushes the surface over a bigger thing, but it's just like, you know, money isn't everything when it comes to making games and stuff like that. Like, he's just totally all about money, whereas for them, it's a project of love. It's whatever. So they take it. They're working on it in their apartment, and the news is on. Free City 2 has come out, but again, it tanks, and he is ousted from Tsunami, so he is no longer the CEO. And while they're working on it, he's just like, I'm gonna go grab a coffee. You want to come with? His friend, again, why are you friends with this guy? Anyway, it's just like, go take her on a date. It's just like, I'm going out for coffee. She wants to go into the game. Needs to tell Guy that, well, she likes him, she can't be in a relationship with him. And he, so it essentially does it in a way of he's going to tell her what she should say to him. And then that's that. And then he's just like, I was programmed, so you should figure out who programmed me. Like, I love you because I was programmed to love you. So it's like, I'm a love letter. You should see who wrote it. And then she watches the rest of Keys's like a video he made of himself describing, like, building Guy's self consciousness. And yeah, she figures out that Keys is in love with her, and then goes, runs across the street. Then they embrace and kiss. There's a point, and like, the street scene is so weird. I'm just like, is he gonna get hit? Because that would be really awkward. It was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it was yeah, it didn't do that, but yeah, like, the whole payoff on that, it didn't seem worth it. It seemed rushed, it seemed hacked on, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. But I mean, the final battle, like, that was amazing. So anyway, in Free Life, well, his buddy, he was deleted when Guy was trying to cross the bridge, essentially getting to the island. So again, I missed that part. So jumping back again, his friend gets deleted while they're crossing a bridge. A lot of other people do too, but they just reappear. And it's kind of like, it's never explained, but it's just like, I was running across a bridge, and then suddenly I'm teleported to this place where there's all these pixie creatures, and then I rode a centaur, and it's just like, all right, so that happened. So, and then that's it. That's the end. So again, what would I say? I'd say this was a fun movie. I did enjoy it more than I did. It did a good job of keeping you entertained. There were some pacing issues, but I mean, it wasn't that bad. I would definitely recommend this over, like, freaking Space Jam or anything else that's still out. I don't even know if that's still in theaters now. But yeah, it wasn't the best movie, but it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I just wish that they would do better about making video game movies and not destroying franchises I love while making generic ones like this. Like, this essentially was a love movie, and like, just the ending, and it just it seemed weird that this is essentially a love movie. Um, but yeah, it had a lot of references, a lot of action. It was tropey as hell. It was very. You could definitely tell where it was gonna go in certain places, in most places. But yeah, fun movie. So again, if you have time, go ahead and take a look at it. It's a fun watch. It is a fun watch. I did enjoy it. I had a few picadillos with it, but I mean that's the whole purpose of a review. So again, 7 out of 10 for me. Uh, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys next time. So, God, come on. There you go. See you guys.